Hello and welcome to another episode of Toothless MMA Radio Series Quick Hitters. I'll be your host, John Galloway, and today, as we look at the world of combat sports, I'll be joined by my guest, Jeff Aronson. Jeff, John Galloway, Toothless MMA, how's it going today?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for being here. Jeff, you got a couple of fights coming up. You got one August 22nd that we're going to focus on today. Tell me about the fight. You guys keep adding more and more fights to this card. What's going on there?
Yeah, I mean the card is absolutely crazy. I mean, it started out with Riddle and Saunders as the main event, which is just an obscene fight. I mean, that fight, from a fan's perspective, that fight, is just going to be incredible. Then you got Ricci Sideropoulos as a co-main event, which is, another unbelievable fight. Then we just added Lloyd Woodward against Kurt Holloway. Another crazy fight. You got Bristol Barunde against Micah Miller. Mike Bronzoulis is on there against Keith Johnson. I mean, the card is just so stacked. There's I think 11, 12 fights already on there, and we've just been stacking it, and we keep adding.
Yeah, you're not just adding fights for this card. You keep adding fighters to your organization. You signed a couple of new guys just last night. You want to tell us who these are?
Yeah, we signed Yoshida and Gono from Japan. I mean, two absolute legends of the sport. Gono is one of four people, I think, to beat Hector Lombard. He also beat Gegard Mousasi. You're talking about guys that are legends. Fought Rua in Pride, has fought everybody, and Yoshida's on the 6-fight win streak right now, and Gono's on the 2-fight streak, and you're talking about guys that carried Japanese MMA on their back during the early days, and you know what? They have reinvented themselves. They're both on tears, and I'm bringing them into the organization to come in and run for the title.
Now, you just took over this organization. What was it now? A year and a half, 2 years ago? Has it been that long?
No, not even.
Not even, right?
6 months ago.
Oh, even less. I must have read something. I thought maybe it was a little bit longer. But since you've taken over, the roster has exploded with named fighters. You see this as being a trend for Titan and for you?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have done this without expecting, wholeheartedly to become, one of the top, two organizations in the world. I come from the management perspective, so, I'm one of the co-founders of Alchemist Management,
right,
along with MC Hammer and Lex McMahon and Nima Safafor, and we're definitely one of the largest and most powerful MMA agencies in the world. And I've been dealing with this problematic issue for 5 years of not being able to get my top prospects fights, not being able to get my veterans fights, because everybody wants to try and pad their record. Everybody wants to try and get involved into easier fights so that they can kind of pad their record, get 10-0, 11-0, walk into the UFC, get a fight, they get demolished, they're thrown out, and then they're back on the circuit. You know, and we refuse to do that. I won't let my guys take easy fights. Every single guy on my roster, from my days in Alchemist, they had to go in real fights, dog fights. I wanted to test these guys. If I was going to invest in them, and I was going to work and kill myself and have Lex and Hammer and Nemo all build up these guys, I need to make sure that these guys truly are the cream of the crop, the top in the world. So I feel the same exact way about Titan.
Now, you mentioned that you were over at Alchemist. Lex was over at Alchemist. You recently brought Lex into Titan. Do you see that as a conflict of interest going from the management side to the promotion side at all, or do you think it's a seamless transition?
No, I see it as an incredibly seamless transition. If you look, if we judge our future by our history, right? I mean, Dana White started as a manager. He was managing Chuck Liddell and Tito. Ed Soares, who's over at RFA now, obviously, he handles Anderson, Leoto, and countless others. No, I think from a manager's perspective, a manager is the best person, in my mind, that can run a promotion, because we've been the ones that have fought with the promotions to get the fighters everything that we want, the benefits. Like with Titan, we give a finishing bonus to every fighter on the main card. We give Zuffa outs to every single fighter. We go above and beyond to make sure that their experience fight week is like none other that they've had so far. We're going out and finding fighters that are going in there in the cage and are going into dogfights for the fans. And we created that mantra, fans, fighters first. And I mean it sincerely. Everything about it, I breathe it, I live it. So to me, who to advocate more for a fighter than an ex-manager who knows what the issues are and has resigned himself to the fact that you have to do the right thing, you have to treat people the right way, and at the end of the day, if you want to be successful, you've got to play the rules, and that's just how it goes. And it's a great industry, and it's not for people that this industry was tarnished years ago by people who wanted to get rich quick, and it's just not the type of business it is. You've got to love it, and you've got to understand it, and you've got to really have a passion for the business.
Now, you had mentioned that, you're looking to become one of the top two organizations. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that the UFC and Zuffa is the other one that you're thinking of being up there with. Now, how do you see Titan overtaking somebody like Bellator, who right now has a little bit more of a name recognition than Titan, but not by much?
I got to be honest with you. I think every single day I'm chipping away at that brick wall. Every single day. What have I done since I took over Titan, since I bought Titan? Let's think about it. Titan was on Access TV, right?
Yep.
Access TV, no disrespect to Access. My issue is, Access is a smaller network.
It's a limited exposure.
Limited viewership. They've got 3 different MMA organizations on the same network. Every one of them has to use the exact same production. Everyone has to use the same announcers. Everyone looks exactly the same. So there's no differentiator, right? I can't tell the difference between any one of the 3 organizations that's on there. Not that I'm saying anything negative against the organizations. I'm saying there's no differentiator to me.
Right, they're confined.
I needed to give Titan an identity. So I went out and I secured a television deal with CBS. We went straight to CBS Sports Network.
Yep.
We went to CBSSportsNetwork.com to put our preliminaries on. Then we had an 11:30 time slot when we first started on our first show on CBS. We then moved. CBS was so impressed, and our numbers were so good that we moved from 11:30 Eastern to 10 o'clock Eastern on our next event. We also then went from CBS Sports Network to CBSSports.com. CBSSports.com is one of the biggest websites in the world for sports. So we're internationally streaming all the preliminaries now. Plus, there's a library of Titan fights on CBSSports.com that you could go and watch all the prelims from the last 2 events. Obviously, we're in negotiations now to go on to, bigger, even a bigger platform.
Right.
And look at the roster of fighters that's been signed to Titan, since the time we took over. I took over with a clean slate, and now I think we have 73 fighters on the roster. And one name is just bigger than the other.
Yeah, definitely. Now, another thing that you touched on there briefly was that you give your fighters a Zuffa out clause, meaning if the UFC comes knocking, they can choose to opt out of the contract with Titan to step into Zuffa and into the UFC. Why do you give them that option?
Here's the situation as I view it, okay? Now, again, I'm coming at this from a manager's perspective. You go into any MMA gym in the country right now. You go into any gym, any BJJ gym, any MMA gym. You ask any 10, 12-year-old kid in the world, what do you want to do? I want to be UFC champion.
UFC fighter.
That is the pinnacle right now in our sport. So why would I want to hold back any of my guys that say to me, Jeff, I have this opportunity. I've been doing incredible in Titan. You've given me this incredible launching pad. I want to take the Zuffa opportunity if it's cool with you. I have never said no since I started in 3 shows, okay? So I have it 6 months. We've had, I think, 8 or 9 fighters signed to UFC already.
You had Efren Escudero that was booked for this card coming up, just opt out.
Yeah, and I let him out. There was no, and you know what? He was a gentleman about it. We spoke about it, and I gave him his out.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's unique to Titan and to you. There's no doubt about that.
And the only reason why other promotions don't do it, in my opinion, is they don't have the confidence that they're going to be able to go and find new talent and create new stars. And I've been doing this for a long time. I'm very confident in building the roster with prospects and the right veterans and the right mix and constantly upgrading and constantly changing and evolving. So when people say to me, aren't you afraid of losing stars? No, not at all. I'm thrilled that guys are having the opportunity to make that move. But I'm also happy that I'm able to give another kid the opportunity to become a star at the same time.
Yeah, you definitely have a roster that's being filled from the bottom up, so to speak, the grassroots. You're bringing in the new talent, the new blood, the next generation of superstars, and to have them in your organization. I've spoken to a couple of them for this card. They're thrilled, and they can't mention enough and talk about it enough how happy they are to be with Titan Fighting. Now, how does that make you feel, being the chief of Titan?
Man, honestly, it is such a good feeling to know that in some way or another, I'm providing the launch pad for these guys, a conduit for these guys to get into fighting on a big stage, a national platform, getting them national recognition, really helping building their brands. You know, we go out and we schedule all their interviews, we do all the PR for them. We really go out and build stars. We're very different than other organizations. So I couldn't be happier with the progression. I mean, to me, the business model, the business plan is working out so well, and we're growing so fast. And if you look at this Titan card coming up right now, that's coming up on August 22nd, you tell me of another card, seriously, and I'll debate it with you all day. You tell me another card from another organization besides UFC that has a better card than that, including Bellator, for the rest of the year.
Oh, nobody. Besides the upcoming UFC 178, which is a ridiculously stacked card,
I give you that all day long. 178 is off the charts, and I will give you. I won't even put UFC in the running. Let's say outside of UFC, any other organization in the world right now, my card coming up on the 22nd versus any other card.
Yeah, there's nobody out there that's got the name, that's got the excitement, that has the records that are coming in, and that's one of the things that I think is going to really drive your fan base, especially with the exposure coming up with the CBS Sports that you said. But this is definitely the top flight card that everyone thinks it's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing. And you know, I can't thank the guys that work for me, you know, at the company. Like you brought up Lex. Lex works tirelessly at Alchemist and at Titan, you know, handling everything. I have Brian Levick out there doing PR. Joe Wooster is you know, doing the matchmaking. We have Gina Watts, my personal assistant. There's a whole group of people involved in this company that have been, you know, really working their butts off to make my vision materialize. And I really do. I have to thank each and every one of them, because without the passion, none of it would come through. What we've been able to do has just been incredible.
Yeah, and I think your passion for putting on fights for the fans and putting on exciting fights comes through not only in your voice talking to you now, but just in the promotion itself. You guys recently instituted like you said earlier, a finish bonus for any fighter on the card. Now, how do you think that drives the fighters, knowing that regardless if it's knockout of the night or if they have a fantastic finish, they're going to get paid for it?
So, I believe it or not, I did that before the first Titan show that I put on under my regime. I came out and I said, that everybody on the main card or the stream prelims are going to get a finishing bonus. And literally, 10 minutes later, one of my fighters, Kurt Hollabo, that we had signed, who's phenomenal. I don't know if you know much about Kurt Hollabo and his story.
Yeah, and he's coming up. He's going to be on this card now also.
What was that?
I said he's also going to be on this upcoming card for you guys now again.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kurt Hollabo, within 15 minutes, sent me a message on Twitter or Facebook. I can't remember. He said, "Jeff Aronson, bring your checkbook. I'm coming for that bonus." I got into the locker room before the fights, where you give your speech to the fighters, you talk to the fighters. I let the fighters know. I talk to them. All of a sudden, Anthony Gutierrez from The Ultimate Fighter jumps up and down, screaming that he's coming for that bonus. I'll tell you, not only did he come for that bonus, I think he got that bonus in less than a minute of the first round.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great to see. It was great to see the excitement. Great to see these guys, feeling appreciated, and great to have them wanting to perform for the organization.
Now, another thing that you mentioned, and you said it a couple of times, and I've asked you about it before. You have the motto, fans fighters first.
Fans fighters first.
Now, explain this to me. Tell me what this means to you, what it should mean to the fans, what it should mean to everybody.
So, to me, I've always thought in other promotions that fighters were never treated like people. They were more treated like cattle, livestock.
Right.
To me, I wanted to make sure that I provided for our fans the best matchups in the world that I could possibly put together. I wanted to give the fans the most dynamic shows. I wanted to give the fighters the best opportunity, the national stage, finishing bonuses, the best fights they could get, so that they could perform and really judge themselves. And I wanted the fans, at the end of the day, to reap the rewards off all of this. So at the end of the day, I wanted everybody to come in first. I wanted it to be fans, fighters first. And at the end of the day, I wanted everyone to win. And it's really been working.
Now, one other thing that you guys do that is, I don't want to say unique, but you definitely give it a little bit more publicity than other people, is you work with different organizations. One in particular is a Hero USA. Tell me about your relationship with a hero.
So Lee Stuckey, who is the founder of A Hero, has been a friend for years, and we've known each other, through events. And Lex actually sits on the board of A Hero.
Okay.
A Hero is just a magnificent organization that helps, wounded veterans with PTSD and all sorts of different issues, and helps, take them out and get them out into the wilderness and fish and hunt and kind of, get them back. And I actually brought this, it was funny, I brought Lex on as the chief operating officer, and before I brought Lex on, like the week before, I said to him, man, I'd really love to have A Hero as a partner with Titan, and give them more publicity.
Right.
This was strictly something I wanted to do because I knew how passionate Lex was about it. He wasn't involved with Titan yet, but he's been a long-time business partner of mine, and he's like a brother. And he's a retired Marine, and I got to tell you, he was so overwhelmed, like he almost teared up in my office when we were talking about it. And then we got Lee Stuckey on the phone, and we put it together, and now Titan has A Hero in the cage. And the last event, we did a feature on them, and it's one of those causes. It's just a great thing, and it's good to give back. I mean, compassionate capitalism is a You put good vibes out, and good vibes come back.
Absolutely, and us, the listeners, and the viewers of the fighters, we appreciate it because we don't always get an opportunity to say thank you to the men and women who serve this country. But seeing companies that we support, like Titan, support them, we kind of gives us a feeling like what, we're doing the right thing also.
Absolutely, and I encourage anybody to go out and donate to A Hero. They really do a fantastic job, and I can't say enough good things about that group.
Now that's aherousa.com, correct?
Yes.
All right, now Jeff, if people want to follow you and they want to keep up with what's going on in your life, where can they follow you?
You can follow me at J Aronson, JARONSON, Titan FC on Twitter. So at JARONSON, Titan FC.
All right, now I can't let you go without asking you for some predictions for August 22nd. Who do you think's walking out with the belt that night?
Man, I got to tell you, I honestly think that this fight is literally a coin toss. Will Matt Riddle be able to use his wrestling and submissions on Ben Saunders, or will Ben be able to clinch Matt and use those knees in the clinch and take Matt down? I don't know. I really don't know. It could go either way. It's just which guy is going to be able to implement this game plan the best. I really think that's how that fight's going to go. What about you?
I was hoping to get an answer out of you because people have been asking me, and I'm in the same position you are. I don't know where to go, so I was hoping I would get a little insight from you on that one. So.
I don't know. I don't know. I think if Matt can get top position and hold Ben underneath him, he can grind on him and implement some really nasty ground and pound. If it stands up, I think Ben is going to put it on Matt.
I think the long and short of it is no matter who walks out with the belt, the viewers are going to be the winners there that night.
Absolutely, and I think it's that way on every fight. I mean, if you look at the card, there's no mismatches on this thing. Every one of these fights is a big fight. Every one of these fights can go anywhere. If I was a bookmaker, I would not want to be laying the odds on one of these fights because they're so close.
Yeah, I don't think there's any clear favorite, underdog or anybody on this thing. I think most of them are almost even draws, and that's not something that
I agree.
Yeah, that's not something that happens a lot. It's usually one extreme or another. So that's, like I said, that's going to be exciting for the fans to see such even matchups.
Yeah, I can't wait. As a fan, so excited about this event. I can't tell you. I am so excited as a fan to watch this fight card unfold because I mean obviously a lot of it is gonna affect Titan and which way I go and what fights I set up next and how it goes. But I am so stoked to see how this fight card comes off and if it's really gonna perform the way it is on paper, because on paper this is definitely one of the best cards of the year.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, I'm going to let you get back to bringing more guys in and, bringing us the next top-notch fighter that's coming up. So I'm going to wrap this up. It's going to be another episode of Toothless MMA's radio series Quick Hitters. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to today's guests for joining us. For Jeff Aronson, this is John Galloway, and we are tapping out.